Hi, this video is going to show you how to use Google to get credible research and also showing you some of the problems that might happen with using Google. So my research question is, how does climate change impact tornadoes? And again, I might want to narrow this down to obviously America or maybe even Oklahoma. But right now, I don't know if that makes a difference. If it's just, doesn't matter where the tornadoes happen, because again, tornadoes only happen in primarily certain areas, right? So here, I already minute, I see National Geographic organization, right? That is a highly credible source. So I've got, this. Excuse me, the cat is getting up on my lap. No, no, go, Finn. Sorry. But this says grades 5 through 8. So this is probably not going to be suitable for a college paper, but it doesn't mean that it isn't, right? Most, the average reading level for most people is 8th grade. So it's probably going to be okay, right? But again, National Geographic is a really good organization. So here I have another one that's from c2es.org, right? So this is the Center for Climate and Energy Solutions, right? So I want to go and I want to find out who are they, right? And so we're going to see it is founded as the Pew Center. Now, the Pew Center is a highly reputable organization that does research. So this is actually a credible site, right? And so, wow, right off the bat, the first two things that we got were actually fine. Here's Yale Climate Connections. So if this is from Yale University, it is a nonpartisan multimedia service providing daily broadcast radio programming and original web-based reporting, right? Okay, it seeks to help individuals, media, non-government organizations, government agencies, academics. So that looks good, right? It's edited by veteran journalist and journalism educator Bud Ward. Developed by experienced independent freelance science journalists, researchers, and educators across the country. So this is looking quite good, right? So on the face of it, it looks fine, right? But again, what we'd want to do, and if we go down here, it says Yale School of the Environment. So Yale is a highly reputable scientific organization. You'd want to then just look at, okay, so here Bob Henson is a meteorologist and journalist based in Boulder, Colorado, right? So he has a degree in meteorology, right? You can look at the rest of his credentials and he sounds pretty good. So this is also a credible source. So right here off the bat, I have three, and then here's another one from National Geographic, right? I've got four sites that I could possibly use. The climate signals, again, we're going to look at about. It's a nonprofit, nonpartisan project of Climate Nexus that curates climate change attribution science and provides resources in real time, right? Now, that just might be a bunch of gobbledygook to hide that they're really, not what they say they are. But we do see they're founded, their sponsor project of Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors. They're a 501c3 organization, which is a nonprofit. So they do have that government designation, right? Okay, so here are their people. So who is she? She has a master's in public administration in environmental science and policy from Columbia. That's a highly reputable place. She has a certificate of achievement in weather forecasting from Pennsylvania State, another highly reputable place. He has this guy has a degree in meteorology from the University of Oklahoma, one of the few universities that provides a degree in meteorology. That is pretty significant. So those two people right there, they're the team. This looks like, again, it is a credible source, right? So again, we're finding some good sites just off EBSCO, not having to go into places like an EBSCO. I'm sorry, off of Google. The Royal Society, excuse me. This is a very old organization founded in the 1600s by King Charles II to organize and gather credible academic information from across Europe, right? So again, wow, I had no idea that I was going to get so much good information. Washington Post, sometimes you're going to click these things and they're not going to give you the whole thing if you don't subscribe or don't sign in. So again, this one looks like you actually do have quite a lot, and they even have videos. Washington Post would be a credible source, but again, it's going to be a general source. It's not necessarily going to be written by a meteorologist. So it's not as good as going to some of those other places. PBS is also going to be a really good source that you can use. Let me see. Here's NIH, that's the National Institute of Health, so that's going to be good. PragerU.com, I don't know who they are. Okay, so let's see. Discover about us. Okay, so I'm not crazy about saying that they promote American values because I'd like to know, well, what are American values? That's usually a sign that this is going to be an organization that has a bias. And so I would say be very careful if you see anybody that says they are promoting XYZ's values, unless it's like scientific method values, something like that. But again, what are, oh, so here's, offers a free alternative to the dominant left wing ideology. Okay, that is a huge red light there, right? Anybody that says they're showing an alternative to anybody else's dominant ideology, whether it be left wing or right wing, they pretty much have an agenda. So we are going to say no to something like this, right? So again, oftentimes it's pretty easy to discover if somebody is, going to be biased. You just got to look for it, right? And I bet if I would say Google, is Prager U a biased source? Right, so here's All Sides Media Bias Rating. And what does it say? It is rating, it's right, link, right? And it's going to tell you why it says that it's right wing, right? Here is another place, Ad Fontes Media, right? Some of these themselves are biased though, so you have to be careful. Media Bias Fact Check, is one of the better ones. And so you can look here and you can see that it has, it is a questionable source. So it has low credibility, right? Based on extreme right-wing bias, promotion of propaganda, the use of poor sources who have failed fact checks, and the publication of misleading information regarding immigration and climate change. So again, you should always kind of go to media bias fact check, but just by saying, is it a biased source, I'm going to get quite a few of these places that are out there rating sources, okay? So that's another way to try to determine, right? Scientific American is a good source. Again, we've got Buffalo News. So Buffalo News is going to be a regional newspaper, right? So again, I don't know who Don Paul is, so let me check, right? And it doesn't give me much about him, right? So let's see. It looks like everything he's writing about tends to be weather related, right? So that is at least a positive signal that he focuses. So he's okay. So here it is, meteorologist Don Paul. So that tells me that he is a meteorologist. If you ever click the author's name, like on a news source, and you get back all of these articles and they just range in topics from, cosmetics to, child trafficking or whatever, you're probably finding someone that is not a specialist. They're just a string journalist that's been assigned a different kind of topics. And that's not the kind of thing that you want. You want to say no to that kind of thing because that means they're not an expert. They're just gathering facts, and you could find those facts from a source that's going to be much more credible, right? Okay, so that's how to just use basic Google. But let me show you some other places in Google that can also give you good sources. So here under Google Books, right? Google Books will sometimes give you a full view of a source. Sometimes it'll give you a preview, which means it'll allow you to see some of the pages. And sometimes it won't give you anything. This one right here, probably it says no preview, right? So it is a place that you can actually find helpful information from credible sources, even if you don't have the entire source, right? So here you can see this is from Springer. This is a highly reputable publisher. And I'm going to go and you're going to just see that every once in a while it's going to say these pages have been removed, right? But it takes, so like here, it says pages 71 to 72 are not shown in this preview. But that doesn't mean that somewhere on this page or this page, I can't find something that actually is quite useful to me. It might give me a statistic or a quote, right? So I do like using Google Books, even if I only have a preview, because I'm probably going to be able to still get some good definitions or quotations or statistics that can actually be something I can cite, right? And then I would just want to then cite the book, right? So if I go here, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to maybe go to copyright to get. So here I can see the name of the book, the authors, the publisher, and back here I'm going to see the title. This is the title page, so I can get all the information that I need. But I also see the ISBN right here, and so I could actually then go to someplace else and search for that to get the entire information for the book, right? If I hit clear search, it used to be that you could actually see just the, see if for some reason it's not letting me, okay, let me do this. Okay, there we go. If you click that X, then I'm going to see actually this information here that'll allow me to cite the book clearly. And then all I have to do is search this up here and or search inside and allow me to search inside this specific book. So that's one place to go to find good quality resources. Now, again, not everything that comes up on Google Books is going to be useful or credible. Like Weather for Dummies is not going to be an academic credible book. But I tell you what, it might help you understand something in real plain terms that will help you with your research. Right. Another place to go to is Google Scholar. So I'm going to click up here on the waffle and I'm going to go down here until I find Google Scholar. Sometimes I have to hit more. Or I can just do this, Google Scholar. So Google Scholar is another search engine for Google. And I can search. And now I'm going to see articles that are scholarly articles that I could cite. Now, again, sometimes I'm going to get this and I'm not going to have access to it, right? It's only going to show me the abstract, but sometimes I can see the whole thing, right? It just depends on the availability that the publisher gives. But here's the thing, if I find something here, I might be able to go back to EBSCO and search for it there, right? Let me go up EBSCO. And so I can just type in or paste the title and I might be able to find it. Now, it doesn't look like they offer that journal, right? So that didn't work out for me, right? But sometimes, but here's G.A. McBean. So let me see if I can find anything else by this guy. So I'm going to go to advanced options. I'm going to search by author and see what it was his name. G.A. McBean. G.A. McBean. Okay, so I'm going to say G.A. McBean. Well, let me spell it right. Okay, there we go. Okay, well, here's G.J. McBean. All right, here's G. McBean. That might not be the same person. So I wonder if I can find his actual name over here. And I can see his publications. So I might, again, so here's a chapter out of this book, an article. That's the same one that I just saw. Here's another chapter. So again, I might be able to find it by, looking at the name. Here's author information, but again, we don't have anything other than G.A. McBean. That's that darned APA where they only give you the initials, they don't give you the person's name, which makes it a little bit harder to find. I do know he is in climate, so I could say G.A. McBean climate and see, Gordon McBean, geography. All right, so now I know that his name is Gordon McBean. So let me go back to EBSCO and see if that will help. So here we go. Now I've got things that he wrote that might actually be something that would help me with my research. And what I can do is I can say climate change. Okay, and here are some things that he's written about climate change. Now, will they mention tornadoes? I don't know. Let's look. Okay, no, nothing specifically about tornadoes and climate change. But again, he might say something about climate change that might be generally helpful in my research that I could then apply to that, right? So again, this is another way that you can use Google by using that Scholar or the books. And in fact, if we go back, let's go back to Google Books because it did show that he had written chapters in some books. So let's see if I can find anything in Google Books. Weathering Service for the Nation. All right, that's 2012. The National Weather Service Modernization and Associated something or other, right? Well, here I found a bio about him. So if I don't know if he's credible or not, I've just found a place that gives me his entire bio. And again, wow, very well qualified. So this is the kind of the process that you go through when you're looking for sources. And it didn't take me that long to find all this information, right? The more you get used to doing it, the faster it goes. You'll identify problems quicker. You'll kind of, be able to tell what you've really got as you build up that experience. Okay, so I hope that helped you see about how you can use Google in multiple ways to find information that can help you with your research.